Hello, my name's Jason. Welcome to the channel. This video is an idea to take a Psalm of Lament and use it as an outline for a sermon. The function of a lament is to help individuals and communities transition from distress to trust, which makes it a great tool in a preacher's kit. So let's turn to Psalm 56 and get started. A standard lament can be broken down into distinguishable parts: address, complaint, confession of trust, petition, words of assurance, and lastly, vows of praise or thanksgiving. And while not all Psalms have all these parts, Psalm 56 does, which makes it a great case study. It also makes it the perfect psalm for a sermon on moving forward in deeper faith. The psalm opens with an address to God that sets the tone for what's coming. Be merciful to me, O God, is a position of humility and submission, a great way to start a sermon. Next, we have the complaint, and this is very important. We have been programmed to perceive complaining as negative, and while complaining can be dangerous and destructive, there are benefits when done appropriately. The complaining that we are warned about in Scripture, the complaining that will keep you walking in circles in the wilderness, originates from short-sightedness and ingratitude, is directed at God's leadership and provisions, and results in hard hearts and unbelief. But there are countless examples given to us in the Scriptures where the complaint is heard, accepted, and is spiritually therapeutic. These complaints originate from the aforementioned positions of humility and submission. Instead of being aimed at God, they're given to God and are about injustice in the world around us and can result in faith and trust. We see here the psalmist is feeling pursued, attacked, misrepresented, and conspired against. It's relentless and it's serious. The psalmist then turns inward and reminds themselves of where their trust truly lies. These two questions show us the psalmist's desire to turn their eyes from their earthly present distress to hope in eternal and divine justification. Now the psalmist presents their petition. This is the desire, the need. And notice the language is not polished or theologically overthought. The psalmist needs help, and in their mind, this is what help would look like. When petitioning God, it's not about saying the right thing as much as it is bearing your soul and casting your cares upon Him. Then once again, the psalmist turns inward. Words of assurance are common in laments after the petition, to remind the petitioner that their suffering is accounted for in the divine mind. Expressed in one of the most beautiful phrases in the Bible, the literal Hebrew here is, "You've put my tears in your bottle." What a wonderful image of God being so close that He's able to touch our face and collect our tears. In the kingdom, not one drop of pain is wasted. The psalm ends as most laments do, with renewed vows to ongoing praise and thanksgiving. Because even in spite of current distress and suffering, those who have the faith to trust God enough to approach Him in humility and brokenness will surely be delivered. Let's review. Start the sermon with an address to God. This could be as simple as an opening prayer, but be intentional in setting a tone of solemn humility and loyal reverence. Next is complaint. Call out injustice, call out frustrations and hardships. What is causing fear or suffering? What is your community facing? Next is confession of trust. Shift the focus from current conditions to the spiritual reality. No matter what happens here, God is on the throne. Now it's time for the petition. What does your community need going forward? Enter into prayer. Prayer for healing, deliverance, protection, provision, victory. Don't hold back. Words of assurance bring comfort in knowing that God is close, listening, invested, and far from indifferent. End with vows of praise and renewed commitments to thanksgiving. and remind the people of God's goodness and faithfulness, and that because of His love, our suffering is accounted for. And that'll preach.